everyone. Welcome to another episode of the
Gabfest.
Guys, we are so dry today.
I'm here with the energy because
You need to be with the energy.
yeah,
Cleo, we're counting on you.
it's
This one's
so-
on you today, Cleo.
It's fully.
I'm carrying the Gabfest today.
Yeah, I sent her a message this morning saying, you better be carrying us today. She phones me back immediately. What do you mean I'm carrying you today?
Well, now you know.
Well, we weren't feeling the greatest this week. So,
Can I be the first to ask? Because Cleo did it the last time, so I really want to be the first to ask. Vange, how was your week this week?
wow.
I mean,
My
we are
week-
taking turns.
My week was actually in bed 24/7 this week, eh? I wasn't feeling too well. As you can see, every time I try to speak, I start coughing. I am no longer sick. It's just, it's the cough thing.
It's the dry. The sniffles must dry up now.
I have no sniffles. I have nothing. The minute I try to talk, I start coughing for some reason. But my head felt like it was going to explode. My body was paining everywhere. I felt like I am dying. And what made it so bad is that I was dying with Isaiah and Scarlett. So there was never a moment of,
Yes.
But then the one day Ashley did take them to his mom. And then I had some time to sleep. As in, like, I slept my heart out. And I woke up 1,000 times better. How was your
Good, man.
Yeah, I think I was in the same boat as you. I slept most of the week. Well, sort of. And then I had Ava as well. Hi, Shame, but she was carrying me. Shame. So she slept most of the time as well. But I'm feeling a little better. I'll say a little better. And here I am. We're past the peak of this whole thing. The sniffles must just dry up. That's it.
How was your
It's
week?
like you guys are whispering. No,
Is it?
my week
I
was
feel
a week.
like I'm loud. I'm proud of myself.
That's good. Yeah, it was a week. It was good.
You had lots of work.
Yeah, in there.
Yeah,
No,
in there.
actually. Yeah. Did some spring cleaning. Yeah.
That's when you know you're getting big, nah?
Yay.
When you do spring cleaning on your own.
Go. We're
We are
moving the
grown now.
furniture.
Moving the
Wow.
furniture, spring
Yeah.
cleaning.
I think that was the big shocker for me when I got married and moved into our own house. It was like, so who did all of this? Where was I when all of this was happening? Do real people do this? Do they do spring cleaning? Do they
I
move
find
their
it weird,
couches?
like, is it
Yeah.
a colored thing or a South African thing that you spring clean every Friday? Like, it's a once a week where it's proper cleaning. And then in the rest of the world, it's literally the first day of spring where they spring clean
Oh,
the
like
way.
actual spring cleaning.
Yes.
I don't know. I just know that it must be done
I was
every
so
now and
shocked
again, and
that-
it must be cleaned out well every now and again. For me, it's not a Friday. For me, it's when I have free time.
Like
Yeah, when you
growing
can.
up in a colored house, okay, our day was a Friday. Every single Friday, it's the move the furniture, it's the all those kind of things, kind of cleaning.
But that's based on
And
the fact
then-
that Ma's OCD. Like, she has serious OCD.
Okay, but then I can't compare the rest of the family because the rest of the family does it as well.
But they
all
also
come
have,
from the
they
same
come from some
parents.
bloodline, so, and they all have serious OCD. I must say, when I moved here, I was like, is this real? Is this normal? And you catch on to it yourself,
I was
not
gonna
on
ask,
their
have you
level.
Have you adopted some of that?
Some of it, not on their level though.
Yeah.
I think mine's cooled down over the years a little bit, not as much, but the rest of the family, goodness, like you'll still be chilling, then they'll come and sweep under
Wow.
your feet. You'll still be eating, then they'll be cleaning because they have extreme OCD, which helps in most cases. It helps.
It helps. But if you don't know, Cleo is a makeup artist by profession. We haven't given ourselves some shout outs in work in so long.
Yeah, man.
And
Let's
she's
do it.
exceptional, might I add.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yes. I find it so weird how people like this over-glammed makeup looks for weddings and banquet here and there. But there's some people that's literally going makeup trends for their weddings. And when I think if you're going to look at your picture, not even 10
5
years from
years
now,
from now.
literally a month from now, because how quick did the soap brow come in and out?
Yeah.
And people actually did that for wedding looks.
But I always say, like, if it's your personality, like, generally, if you're always over the top, then It's
And
like
it's
on brand
always
for
the
you.
people that do not wear makeup that
Yeah,
on their
that's a bit
wedding
risky, yeah.
days
That want to be
they
risky.
choose makeup artists that is like where you don't recognize the person.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I like about your makeup. You always look like you,
Thank
but
you.
it's so glammed up.
enhanced.
Yeah.
Like you have a
It's-
filter on.
Yeah, it's like you have a filter on. It's not like it's a whole new
So it won't
person.
be it won't be a shocker when there's no makeup. The no
Yeah.
makeup look like, excuse me, who's that?
Yeah.
But yeah. And so we shall jump on
To our
into
topic.
the show. So today we are doing I need to cough. Today
Today we are doing
Thank
good
you.
girl syndrome.
The good girl syndrome.
So for those who don't know, can I just jump in?
Jump
took
in.
over, yeah.
Yeah.
Got this, Cleo. We said
So-
you must carry it.
Carry
For those
it.
who don't know what good girl syndrome is when I don't think it applies only to females. I think it
Yeah,
applies to the
they call
human
it
population.
there's the good boy syndrome as well.
Okay.
But it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. So basically, you just want to be a people pleaser. You don't know how to say no. You're always putting other people's needs before your own, kind of a thing. Because I think also the thing is we've been taught a certain way growing up that just be the quiet one. Don't say
Yeah.
things out of turn. That
Need to
kind
be
of
seen
thing.
and not to be heard.
Yeah.
And also, what this good girl syndrome does is that it leads to certain kind of things such as depression, or because you're not living into the space that you want to live in. However, but
Yeah.
because you feel forced or suppressed into a certain way of how you must be, how you must live, how you must act, how you must speak,
Sorry.
then you don't achieve your goals, and that forces you into some sort
Yeah.
of way.
And you also, I feel like you don't attract the right partners or friends even
Yeah, I
because
was shocked with that.
you're not being yourself because you basically, what is it like what's this word I'm looking
A
for?
facade. Yeah, you're basically displaying a facade because this is what is expected of you. However, this is how you feel and this is who
Yeah.
you really are. And because you display into what's expected of you, then you attract a person in that arena.
Yeah.
But then later on you realize, but I'm a whole different person. And then
Yes.
realize you married the wrong person.
And like also the thing is if you kind of like, I don't want to use the word pushover, but if you are pushover, you tend to attract people that take advantage of that. And I think maybe that's how a lot of people end up in like abusive.
Yeah, I was surprised that they was mentioning the abusive relationship as the weak man when I was doing my research about it, and they were saying that if you are if you have the good girl syndrome, you are more likely to attract a weak man because a weak man wants somebody who just yeses because they want somebody that accepts a lie.
And it's so
says
crazy how
yes
people
and-
think abusive people are strong. But
Yeah, that is what society
Yeah.
projects it as, and no. But this is the show we were speaking about 3 weeks ago. We're speaking about male abuse, man abuse, and it's relevant. And really, it is their weakness. It really is. They not. Yeah. If they
strength.
abuse, it's not a strength. But we were speaking about it in terms of if a woman abuses a man, then it's seen as no, she's just being a strong woman. But the man is weak when really he's not being weak. He's just being abused.
He's being the good boy syndrome.
He's in the big good boy syndrome. Yeah.
So what I found interesting also about the good girl syndrome was that they said when you look at, you don't always know you have the good girl syndrome, right? I found it interesting that they said that many people that have the good girl syndrome, it's how they were molded growing up in terms of it's what their parents, how their parents showed love in terms of one lady that was doing the whole, like investigating, whatever you call it, around the whole good girl syndrome, was that she was saying that if your parents, when you do something good and they don't say, for example, they were comparing if you're raising a boy child or a girl child. If a boy has to fall, you're like, oh, get up, come on, my boy, you're strong, show us you don't cry. Da, da, da. When a girl gets up, falls, it's an immediate run over to them. Are you okay? Are you okay? Come, let's put a bandage on it and stuff like that. And it somehow develops something that as life goes on, it's expected from them to be a little bit weak in terms of, they took it in terms of you're not making a strong girl, you're making a girl that is I don't want to use the word weak. Yeah, meek. Somebody that is just, do you feel sorry for me? This. And they say that's a lot of times where it stems from. And even as a parent, if your parent is somebody that she's really tired right now, and somebody says, please bake me a cake, and you're like, oh, I can't, I have so much on my plate, and you leave your own mental health to bake that cake, but you're complaining in it the whole time in front of your child, you make it okay, and your child thinks that is how you're
Yeah, like a model
supposed to,
behavior.
you're supposed to behave. And as they grow up, that's when it becomes a, I can't let people down, this is how my mother taught me, kind of a thing. And they said that was one of the biggest good girl syndrome.
Yeah.
For me personally, when I was doing a bit of research and I took a reflection on my own life, I had to go back and see that, like I say, and this sounds very repetitive, but there must be balance in life. I do think that I was raised in some sort of good girl syndrome vibe. However, it has protected me from a lot of things. It's protected me from things that I didn't need to. So, need to encounter, or things that I didn't need to deal with at the end of the day. So I think there is some balance. I don't condone certain things or certain ways of raising a child when it comes to if you're being oppressive or getting a child to be submissive. I think when we were raised as to be seen and not to be heard. But there should be balance in that, because at the same time you should be able to say how you feel. For instance, if I have to look at my life, my father really wanted me to be a doctor. For the life of me, I cannot imagine myself to be a doctor. I can't even stand the sight and smell of blood. So that really, it wasn't going to work in the surgery room for us, and he really wanted that. There were certain things I wasn't allowed to do. I mean, I was in high school. I was in grade 12, and I had to be home at 11, and yes, good marks were expected of me, and no, the teacher wasn't allowed to call because, you needed to be good. You needed to achieve certain marks. That's correct. But at the same time, he wasn't oppressive, like, you're going to do this and that's it, or you're going to leave my house, or I will see you less of a daughter if you don't do this. So there's certain boundaries where there must be principle and guidance for us as people to sort of like mold into functional adults, as opposed to being delinquents. Because if there's just free reign, then and there's no boundaries, then you do raise a delinquent. But I think there must be certain boundaries.
I like where the area that you're coming at it from. I was also thinking of it from the sense of like growing up, if you don't, like, you're seeking approval from people, because I know that's also how it comes into play as you get older, because as a child maybe you don't get enough attention or you don't get enough praise when you do something that you feel is good work. So as you grow older, you're like, okay, I need to get the approval of this person. Let me just do whatever they say, or let me not say no to them, or let me not say how I really feel, because I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And the unfortunate thing is that if you grow up in that, it's not something you can just snap your finger and wake up one day and say, I'm not doing this anymore. It's like something you have to learn. How to undo.
And it literally becomes part of your personality, because it's really not just I feel like this, I'm just saying yes because it's yes. It comes with time. This is how I choose.
I'm still learning how to say no.
I have a friend. She's almost 50, right? And she's in hospital today, and that's because she has that. I need to do this. It's borderline where you see it as responsibility. And you see it as, okay, fine, but I need to make sure that these people don't see me in a bad light. But you don't,
like, what are they going to say if I don't do this?
But it's, and at the same time, you don't take care of your own needs. You don't take care of your health. You don't take care of certain emotional needs. You just keep steamrolling. And it's unhealthy to the extent where you need to realize if it's in a work situation, you need to understand that if you're not there anymore, they're just going to find someone else to replace you. Then someone else is going to do that job. So it becomes a point where you must find a boundary for yourself. You must be able to, and that's why even in the research that we were doing, is like you need to understand when it's okay to say yes and when it's okay to say no. That boundary line to say, okay, fine, I can't take this upon myself. I'm tired, so I can't do it now. Let me say no rather for a healthier space for myself. Because there's other people that can bake cakes.
Yeah.
I promise you, if you go out, there's many,
You know what the crazy thing also is, sorry, is that people say you can say no and you don't have to give a reason. How do you do that?
It's not true.
How?
That's not true.
It's not true.
Like, hey, please
that's
can you
a
do this
myth.
for me? No.
Why?
Do people, but people do ask why.
People ask why.
Yeah.
Why?
Or they're like,
So
oh, why are
my
you being
se-
funny?
My 7-year-old child will ask me why. And when an adult says that, I'm like, I expect that from Ava. I do not expect that from a grown person.
Even if they don't say why to your face, you question what is it now, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
What's
it's
going
like
on
some
now
weird
again?
vibe
Yeah,
there.
and then
Yeah.
there's just no
I think
acceptance.
but I think it's important. Say why. And that keeps the air clear. That's for communication.
But
It's like,
let's say it's something that, okay, I feel like if it's somebody that's close to you and someone that's really important to you, you can't really use a stupid example. It's a party or a chill, and you know this person's only going to be in Joburg for this night, kind of a thing. And is it okay then? And like you had this tough
Ooh, that happened to me.
week, and
Yeah.
now you have to decide, am I really going to take this time to rest, or am I going to go because when am I going to see them again?
Yeah.
And if I say no, how do you say no to that because the person's not always here?
Yeah, that happened to me.
What
and
did you do?
What did you do?
So I had a friend that was living overseas and she came to the country. I don't know how long she was here for, but she said, I have to see you before I go. And I just I wasn't feeling okay during that time. And I just couldn't see myself like driving all the way there. And like it was those kinds of things where we don't really keep in touch all the time. So I just said to her like, look, I'm really going through things right now and I'm not going to be able to make it this time. And then she never spoke to me again. But I had to deal with that guilt for a short period of time because when I do say no, I still have guilt that I have to deal with. But in the long run, I was like, you know what? I had to do it.
But the thing is, the reality of the matter, and for me, I think it might, as cruel as it sounds, it's happened to me when I moved here. You know, people didn't understand my situation because when I moved here, I didn't have a car. Xavier was always working, and I was at home and whatnot. And people would come, and Joburg would be their pit stop for their connecting flight. Then they'd say, look, I'm in Joburg for a couple of hours. Can you meet me there? And I'd say, I can't.
On the day.
Like the day before or on the day or whatever. Regardless of when they said, like if I don't have transport, there's nothing. I mean, I didn't even know how to get around Joburg during that time. They cut me off. They literally cut me off. They don't greet me when I go back to Namibia. They don't, you know, it's like that. But then you realize, what was the friendship really about? My truest friendships that I have is extremely low maintenance. And I'm talking about we won't speak for 2 years. And the minute we are together, it's like we haven't not seen each other.
Yeah.
You know?
Is that people that live out of the country or like people that
No,
live
people
in
that
the
live
city?
out, they live out of the country.
Okay.
Those are the friends that I keep. And when I do keep in touch, it's like we've never lost touch because
Yeah.
we understand each other. But when I also tell them, look, I'm unable to, they understand. Or when I ask them for something, they understand. It's like, okay, fine, it's not in their means. Like people will think because Joburg is Joburg is a big place. And people who live here and people who have lived here, grew up here, understand how vast Joburg
Yeah.
is. People who are outside of Joburg don't understand how vast Joburg is. So a lot of people from Namibia would ask me, can you get this, or can you do this, or can you do that? And then I'd have to say, but I can't because I live 45 minutes away from that mall, or because I don't go to the mall very often. I really don't. So some people have cut me off because they feel like I just don't want to help. Or I just don't want to, but they don't understand the situation. And for me, it's so important when it comes to friendships or it comes to imposing on someone else, understand where they come from. You know, that's why for me, I think it's important. If you're going to say no, say why. And if you've said why and you were honest in your why, not being rude, just being, look, I'm not in a good space and this person isn't receptive of that, then I question my friendship then.
Yeah.
You know, I question. So why don't you come the extra mile to say, okay, fine, look, you are in this space. I'm only here for this time. Okay, let me drive out to see you for 5 or 10 minutes. I've had that with my friend where I couldn't. And then she's like, look, I'm just going to come say hi to you and then leave.
Yeah.
And she did. And I mean,
Like meet me halfway kind
meet
of.
me halfway,
Yeah.
kind of. So I think that's very important, because then you ask yourself, where's this friendship going then? Is this friendship one side, or you know? And that stems from the good girl. I think there's so many other people that really do. They will put themselves. People will be dying at home,
Yeah.
and they'd leave those people to, when you need to prioritize. You need to see what is important for your mental health, your emotional health, and also your immediate space.
Like some people that are sick and then still come to work and have to be on camera, even though they're not feeling well.
Do not know what you're referring
There's
to.
another part that I want to ask about the work side, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of I was watching this one TED talk as well, where they were discussing not directly the good girl syndrome, but more about how girls are brought up to yes to everything, but how it affects them then when it comes to now they're done with school, because at school you work towards something, there was marks, you work towards something. In primary school you get a star. With your parents, you brushed your teeth, you get a star. At the
It's
end of the
always a
week,
reward.
do all this,
Yeah.
there's a reward. And now growing up, she was bringing the side across from, she's somebody that helps startup companies. And her TED talk was basically about how, as somebody that helps invest in startup companies, there is never woman in the room of the startup companies. And this is how she started her side hustle of implementing a workshop for women to have confidence in themselves. Because she then noticed, when she did interview and ask, why is there never women at any of the startup investment meetings, those kind of things. With that being said, a lot of women, the feedback that she got was because they grew up with that reward system. And as a woman, they told, this is the man's world, this is this, that is that. They're so scared to take the risk of failing, because they feel like for women, there's one chance and it's it. And then she said she also noticed that in their startup meetings, the questions they ask a man when starting a company versus the questions they ask a woman is two totally different questions. So they would ask a man a question like, how did the dream start and where you taking it, those kind of things. And when a woman walks in, even if she's been successful, but she wants a bigger investment to make it go bigger and better, they would ask her, give us points on how this won't fail. So she says that that's one thing that she noticed. You need to prove it again. So she said through her research, it stemmed that all these women had the good girl syndrome. What's your take on that? Do you think it does have an effect in terms of with so many business having such influential maybe positions in their jobs or those kind of things?
I do think for the most part, yes, because also I think women innately are submissive, right? Which goes into the good girl syndrome as well.
You must always be gentle.
We must always be gentle, but we must always like Fanji alluded to earlier, is that we're the meeker vessel. So what happens is that now when you come into this, it's seen as, okay, fine, men are superior, so we need to come in under them. So if we're going to, we need to prove how we are going to sustain it, whereas men are just expected to sustain it. Whereas women are meant to support it instead of sustain it.
Yeah.
So how are you going to tell your subordinates or your people that work under you, how are you going to keep them going? Can I just bring this quickly in? Lady S, Sonia Foster, sometimes to say no means you don't have the capacity at the present moment. It's okay to say no without an explanation. Okay, that's alluding to earlier where I asked for an explanation.
Yeah. So do you have anything that you could add to the whole, how does it affect us in terms of you having your own business as well? Do you think your yes syndrome, not wanting to let people down, also impacts where you could have been as a businesswoman?
I definitely think so, because the thing I had to learn over time is that when you say no to the wrong things, the right things find you. But when you say no and you feel guilt, it makes it so much more difficult. And I don't really know if it's a business thing, but for me, it's like a personality thing. And there's always guilt attached to doing what's best for you or for your business or for your relationship or whatever you're dealing with in that present moment. And it's always a thing of like, how is this person going to feel if I can't come at this time or do this, or if I don't reach this deadline, or if I don't, or I can't achieve this look that they want, or can't do 18 people in 4 hours or whatever. And then it's a thing of like, now you need to go out of your way and try and expand beyond what you're able to do, because you're trying to do what's right, or to please the person. And the thing I've also learned is that a lot of the time when you do go out of your way, people don't even really appreciate it. So if you're doing it for them, that's going to upset you. But if you're doing it because you want to, then I guess it doesn't really matter.
It's different now that you put it in that light. I mean, you know that in the beginning of when I started my business initially, that it was always a thing where people would ask, can you keep it for me, right? And then I was like, I don't know what to say, you know. It's like, I don't know. Then I always go to Evangelique first. And she'll say, no, it's a business. You need to sell it to your first customer. And then I'm like, but how do I word it so that the person isn't offended? And then what usually happens is the person ends up never taking it. So what happens now, I was trying to not seem bad in their eyes. I'm trying to please them, but then they don't take it, and then I sit with the stock and then I don't get it sold. Yeah. Or when people take something, now I have to ask for the money. Oh my God. Like I don't want them to feel like I'm needy, but what do you mean needy? It was a server, it was a product provider.
Business transaction.
Yes. So that it's like that. It's that in the back of your mind. You feel like, oh, this person is going to view me differently. This person is going to see me as why are they so? It's just 100 rand, but that's what makes the business flow.
It's the principle.
It's the principle.
And also the thing is, if you have like a regular customer, then it's like you want to put them first. But it's happened to me like where I've had a lady that was a regular, and she said, hey, I'm going to book for Saturday. Please keep this slot for me. And you're supposed to pay to secure your slot, which she didn't because she's a regular. So I was like, no, it's fine. I know she's going to book. She didn't book. And I lost out on other bookings for that. And it's like, you can't be mad because, first of all, who said you must do that?
Door.
Yes. And it's just like, I say it's like, who calls it school fees? It's like where you just learn.
Yeah, it is school fees.
You learn and move on.
I mean, that's happened to me where I don't pre-buy stuff. If I have it on hand, you must pay and then you take it. So a lot of the people will see me wear something that I didn't stock up. I just bought it for myself. And like, I want that. No, you need to get it for me.
Whenever I see something, you're like, oh, it's sold out. I'm like, why? So what?
Cleo, not now.
This is Shop Closet, guys. She has really nice things.
Thanks.
Because you didn't get a shout. Why didn't Anka get a shout?
Because I always get a shout out.
Shout out.
Oh, yeah. So it was your turn today. But in any case, so I bought so much stuff because this lady, she wanted it. And I knew she always took it. This time around, she didn't. She made me wait 3 months. And then I started selling off the stuff bits by bits that I had to sell it like on sale because it's now old stock. It's not something that was now hot and happening. And I was like, I told myself so many times, I'm not going to stock it up before they've paid. Like, look, if you want it, this is the cost. I'll get it for you. I'll source it for you.
You know, again, you want it, I bought it. But then there's also the side when it comes with business that there's also the negative side of the good girl syndrome, where you are at work, for example, and the boss just one day you said, okay, I can work overtime, and you're now there until 6 o'clock.
Then it becomes
and now it becomes expectation from your boss. How do you then handle that? Because that is also a good girl syndrome. You really want to go home. This is my working hours.
Yeah.
You can't really, and I feel like a lot of people working from home now is feeling this good girl syndrome.
Living at the office.
Because they can't do anything. I have a friend that now needs to literally press a button every time she goes to the bathroom, but she's working from home. She has a 4-month-old baby. So you tell me, in that 5 minutes that she's not there, she gets a phone call and gets asked, you gone from your desk too long. When is she supposed to feed this baby? When is she supposed
to just breathe? Just toilet break.
Exactly.
I do think like maybe in the workplace boundaries are a little bit more difficult. Or I don't know.
but in terms of that, a lot of people that have been working from home has been saying it's worse. They'd rather prefer to go
Going-
into the
yeah.
office because
Because there's hours.
yeah, there's hours, and when I leave. Now it's
Yeah.
like this is your workspace, and I think that is interesting. As from a workspace perspective, people need to say, "Look, I'm done now. This is out of my hours. I'm done. Unfortunately, I won't be able to."
Yeah.
And the sad reality is, people do risk losing their jobs. But however, there's unions. First of all, there's laws in place, and people play. Bosses play on that goodwill. They take advantage of that to say, okay, fine. And you as a person, you're a person. You need to
Yeah.
breathe. You've got family members at home. It's not fair towards the people around, because who suffers the most? The people around you, the people at home. You need to make decisions that is healthy.
Yeah, I
your
think
environment.
also the people at home suffer even if you don't know how to say no to friends or people
Yeah.
at work, and you keep it in, but then when you get home, you just
Just explode.
yeah.
Because they get the brunt of it. We really get the brunt of it at home. And not just that. I mean, when we're at home, I want my husband at home. I want to be at home. So I had to put boundaries for after 6, I don't do business anymore. I'm with my kids. There's certain things I just don't do at home because they say, and your kids tell you, you're always busy. You're always in a meeting. You're always busy texting someone. You know, you always work. They tell
Kids
you.
will put you in line real
Kids
quick.
put you in line. You know, and this is so funny because kids are brutally honest. This is just going a little bit off topic. So, and it took me a day to digest what my child said to me. Now, she's 7 years old, right?
Yeah.
So she was sick with me on Wednesday. So she's sitting in front of the TV and I'm coming down, so I'm a hot mess. I mean, I'm not feeling well. I'm just trying to get Xavier and Taya out of the house. And I'm a hot mess. She looks at me, but she's nonchalantly eating breakfast and sitting. She's like, Mommy, when are you going to fix that mess? So I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like, what mess? She's like, your hair. It's a mess. It doesn't look nice. You must comb it. And she just goes on eating. And I'm like, kids will put you in line.
We need to learn some lessons from
We
them
do.
also.
And then like last night, Xavier comes home. He's like, when can I have my wife back? I haven't seen her in a couple of days. Because you're hot. You're just trying to just feel human again.
Yeah,
just
you don't
to
have time to still be looking nice and
you know,
stuff.
so kids will tell you, and Taya will tell you straight, no, I can't. But make up your bed. No, but I don't know how to.
Oh, I don't
You
feel
know,
like it.
yeah, they'll tell you like, I'm not in a good space right now, so leave me alone. So maybe there is some things
They're
we can
onto
pick up.
something.
They're onto something.
Yeah.
There.
I definitely think so.
You think so?
Because like I was saying to you, like I'm still learning. And for me the most difficult thing in learning how to say no is the people that press after you've said no. Like, oh, but are you sure you can't? Or just do this, or like instead of just listening to my no and moving on, now you're trying to talk me out of it.
But
And-
that's a boundary you're going to have to put. You
Yeah.
allowing yourself to be abused.
Yes, like it's
it
so
is.
difficult. Like I'm much better now, but even as like a teenager, I think, or being an adolescent as a woman in general, sometimes you can end up in very uncomfortable situations because you don't know how to say no, and you don't know how to say this is making me uncomfortable, or I don't actually want to be here, or I don't want to go here. And we need to teach these girls.
Especially when it's close people. It's usually there. It's usually those people that are close that are like, or they're regular customers, or they
People you're familiar with.
yeah, they've got a bit of a higher tier because either they support your business or something, so you also don't want to disappoint. But then they press and you don't know how to say no. And I think that's happened to me specifically in the business arena. It's happened to me where people are like, no, it's fine. I want this, I want that, or bring this out. You know what? I'll pay. And then 2 months later, I'm like, hello, I need
Now
to buy
you
more
must
stuff.
remember every day, oh, I need to remind this one.
Yeah.
And it becomes part of your whole schedule.
Yeah.
So one thing that I also saw is that they were saying that if you have the good girl syndrome, one of the things that they've noticed is that women don't know how to then handle their emotions and their anger. So they say there's a healthy way to release anger, and if you have the good girl syndrome, you can't release it in a healthy way because you're keeping all that emotion to yourself.
Yes.
And then when you do release it, it's released in a way that it hurts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree
can
with
relate.
Agreed. Go ahead.
I also, from my understanding, is that when your nervous system is under a lot of stress, it's easier for you to react. Like if over time for a long period you are not true to yourself and you keep saying yes, 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 and you don't mean yes, then eventually they're just gonna. And
just
then you're
gonna
crying
explode.
because you're angry, and then they think you're sad, but you're like, I'm not sad. I
I'm just
just want to
frustrated.
Just
strangle you.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another thing I found really interesting that they were saying that there is some tests that has been done and everything with good girl syndromes being a majority of women who fall into multiple sex partners, drugs and alcohol, because they get to a point where they can't yes no more and they don't know and they buckle under the pressure, and the first thing they end up doing is then for like totally losing the whole yes girl, trying to be a good girl, and end up sleeping with multiple guys and just live this lifestyle,
while in
which
out.
then turns into alcohol and drugs to keep up with the lifestyle. And I found it very interesting that there's a large percentage of these women through stats and stuff that came from a good girl syndrome. What would you think? What's your opinion on that?
For me, I just feel like it's unfortunate because a lot of people will look at women like that and judge them immediately without realizing that underneath all of that, there's somebody that just wants to be accepted. And obviously, it's not healthy at all, but you get to a stage where you need to start training yourself out of it, and you need to see yourself and give yourself that space to grow and to heal and to just start, like you were saying, putting up boundaries and say no to people and have your self-esteem and build on that so that you don't need the acceptance of other people.
But also, I think I experienced from high school where I knew of girls who were like, they were the do-goods. And then up until grade 12, and then when they hit college, they just went ballistic. Like they experienced life, they went all the way out. And I think a lot of that has to do with parenting. I think, there's a saying that goes, strict parents create sneaky kids. So basically, you suppress your child to the point where there's no release. And then when the time comes, they just explode.
Yeah.
And I think that was the difference when I say I was raised to a certain extent with, yes, there's a lot of don'ts in our house for me specifically. There really wasn't. And I was just scared of everything. I'm not adventurous.
Do you
I'm
have
just,
sisters or the only girl?
I have a sister now. She's 13 years younger than I am.
Oh, okay.
So I do have a sister. She's the complete opposite of who I am. So she likes to explore. She's got a more out there personality and all of that. So, but for me, what was different was I could speak to my mom about certain things. There was a pressure release, and we had a back and forth. So I think it's important for that healthy relationship and the boundaries to go. I think if I didn't have the pressure release, I would have also wilded out, went crazy.
Wilding out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Went crazy when I went to college, given the fact that I also went to college very late. So I was a late bloomer. But I think in that sense, it really did help me. It did save me from a lot of things, consequences that I didn't have to deal with at the end of the day.
So what was your release? Your pressure release?
So basically, for me, I didn't have me and my mother, we spent a lot of time. So I had a very good, so as much as my mother's my mother, she was my friend. We weren't buddies, but we had a friendship going. So I could speak to, even till this day, there was no disrespect. There was no partying together, whatever. My mother's not a partying
she's like
type.
a safe space for
She's
you.
a safe space. So I could go to her knowing that she wouldn't judge me. However, she would guide me. She would say, okay, I don't agree with this. Whenever I went into a relationship, she would say, you're wasting your time here. But she wouldn't press it on, no, stay away, or she wouldn't press it on. She'd say, okay, I'll allow you to go and experience this. However, remember A, B, and C. My father was the type where we always bring it up, where the Jane the Virgin with the with
the
a flower.
Yeah.
That was always my father. So that was also part of my saving grace. So whenever I was in a situation, it's like, my father's right here.
Yeah.
But there was boundaries. There was
Sorry, I'm laughing. Every week this happens, nah, and it makes me lose so much concentration whenever Anka speaks. She keeps staring at herself in the screen here or
can't see
something.
myself.
Or you look at something there, and then I'm like, I heard what you said now, but now I want to know what you're looking at.
I can't see myself. I see half of myself. Yes.
So every time you speak, I'm like,
You also want to just
can
check
I
with
just
you.
see, is there someone there?
This
or
makes me
what
feel like
it
I'm
is?
squint because I look at you. So this makes me feel like, am I squint, guys?
Sorry.
But
So,
okay.
I have a question
Yeah.
now with you guys being moms of girls. Do you have like a whole plan for what you want to do as they get older, or is it more a thing of like, let's see how it goes, and also depending on their personalities and that?
You know what, with me, I'm big on the personality. So, like with me, I've always been a creative. And I studied art, I did art at school as well. Everything was always arty. And then when I finally got a chance to like go and study art after school, obviously at that time, creatives wasn't, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
There was
still
very
frowned
little.
upon.
It was frowned upon,
Yeah.
especially like if, I don't know, is it fair to say in colored homes or whatever, but it's either you went to go study business, you studied law, you studied accounting, or a doctor. And I really wanted to do fashion and interior. And I was forced to go study business, but I hated every second of it. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And as much as what I learned then helps me now, it's just a matter of, I always think that if I started in what I loved from the very beginning, I wonder where I could have been all
Today.
these years later. Would I have been further? Would I have done this? Would I have done that? And yeah, you can still do it, but you do sometimes question what could have. And then that's also based on my personality. My personality is not somebody to sit, yes, I can study, but I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I can listen to something and then I can go rewrite everything you just said now, but it's through listening, not necessarily the whole reading thing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, I feel like I want to do that for my kids. I feel like the platforms that is now open, it allows kids to be business people in grade 6 already.
Yeah.
As long as there's that guidance of values and morals, I honestly do want my kids to grow in their personality and not them be told how to handle a situation,
Okay.
how to feel when you handle that situation. Last week I actually posted something about how you affect a child if a child sees a muddy puddle for the first time and jumps into it. And to me, I did take it, and then I was shocked that when we went to Spartans won on Sunday, we won our league. Anyway, we went to the after party of it, and then there was one girl that came up to me and she was like, there's something you posted, and my parenting changed from that moment on.
Wow.
Because I realized that we force our children to think a certain way, and we take that learning away from them just because you don't want to go wash the socks now.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So for me, I really want my children to develop in who they are and not have them be told.
Yeah.
But also, for us specifically, there's the element of there must be boundaries, there must be discipline, there must be all of that. But also, when we wanted to put Ava into school, we had to look at which schools we're going to put her in, because we didn't want to put her into mainstream school, because it's that saying that how can you judge a fish by how a fish climbs a tree? You know, a fish needs to be in water. So not every child is the same.
Yeah.
Not every child has the same personality or likes or the way they do things. Like my two girls are worlds apart, right? Ava loves to read. Ava loves to do like academic stuff. Where Taya will just look at you, can I go play now?
Yeah.
You know, they learn differently. So it's so important that you do look at them in a different way and see. One child maybe loves to paint and that's where they want to go. One child maybe loves to do maths and they'll be an actuarial scientist. So,
Yeah.
you know, and you won't know that until you allow them to just be. Because at the end of the day, back in the day, parents were told there's only these a doctor, a lawyer.
They even used
you
to
know.
force them to be right-handed
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, I know of
How
people who
crazy.
were smacked every now and again because
Yeah.
it was inappropriate to write with it. So now they're ambidextrous. But I just put this out there. Some of the comments, because Lucinda Boyson said, you need to speak your truth with love. Saying no is difficult, but saying no is also respecting and loving yourself. Then Tasneem Welcome says that sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it. So yes, you can say no, but in a nice way. I'm big on that, on how you say things.
Yeah.
I'm big on that, yeah.
But first, for me, I have to sit with it and figure out a few different ways to say it and then edit it.
Yeah. I send it to Evangelique first and I'm like,
Are you the editor?
read it if it sounds nice and then send it back to me
No,
because
because if she had to send what she wanted to say,
it bad?
she won't have not one client.
Wow.
She has no way of addressing something.
So my mouth, guys, and I had to learn a lot of that even when I came into my marriage. Like I say it and I say it cutthroat. Like,
Yeah.
That's how I see it, I think it. So yes, it goes to Evangelique for editing, for softening purposes, and then it comes back.
But sometimes I see that like online, especially like Instagram, where there'll be customers that comment something and the business owners just like go off and
Yeah, there's some
They just-
business owners where you're like, oop, I ain't buying here.
But you see, that's also my concern, like with a lot of the things. So I struggled, and a lot of the times I would just leave it. I just wouldn't text because I know that my way of saying something is not. Those who know me would know she doesn't
That's
mean
just
it. Like
Anka.
it's just how
Yeah.
I speak, and I know that's a family trait that I needed to curb because even when I spoke to Xavier in the beginning, he'd be like, "That's just disrespectful." I'm like, "But I don't mean it in a disrespectful way." It's like, no, there's certain.
So what do you like when you're angry?
Yeah, moving on.
It's a story for another day.
Story for another day.
We try not to get. I'm very short fused, so we try not to get there yet. I've grown. I've calmed down a lot. I have.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm proud of myself too.
shame.
Shame from the
Shame
editor
from
herself.
Straight from the editor's mouth.
I must say that there is a lot of things for me personally where I do feel like I have good girl syndrome. Like, I knew there was something like this, but I didn't know it actually had a name.
Yeah.
It was very
2022,
new to
everything
me.
I
has
thought it
a
was just being
name.
called a doormat.
A doormat, wow.
Oh, that's new. But that's new to me.
On one Our Blues series I'm watching,
Yeah.
the one friend was also shook when she found out her friend calls her a doormat, and she just changes immediately. And when the friend explains what I mean by you being my doormat, she takes it differently. But can you imagine like hearing, no, you're just
Yeah,
my
it's not a
doormat.
nice term.
It's not a nice term
Yeah.
at all. But the good girl syndrome, I would say that I struggle with this a lot when it comes to working purposes. I have
That is
people,
an understatement, eventually.
I don't know. I know you hurt me.
Yeah.
I know that I can handle the situation differently. But what I end up doing to keep the peace is I move on with my life. You go do
She
what you
keeps
want to
quiet,
do.
and then she just-
And I just now pretend like you don't exist.
And I get upset
If I
with-
see you, I will still greet you. But I
But how
just
does it
go
feel?
on as
Does it?
you
is it
feel like
sore?
a doormat. Yeah.
It's
We
sore, but
spoke
you act
about it
like-
on the one show where
Yeah.
But what you do is you do this. You're in a situation, right? And this person will be blatantly rude to her, like blatantly demeaning, like trying to be derogatory. Then she'll just sit there and take it. And in the next meeting, she'll come and she'll have fixed certain things, and then she'll present it again. And then she'll be handled like that, and I get upset, like in the background.
feel
I'm like,
like-
you don't need to be rude or anything, which I would have been. But you don't need to be rude or anything, but address it so that this person understands that, look, yeah, what you're doing is wrong. Don't
Yeah.
do that. It's not nice.
What you allow will continue.
I
and
know
it
will continue.
continues.
It continues. But here's my thing where I say I know I'm struggling with this. I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm not even saying I'm working on it.
That's okay.
I-
As
You
long
need
as
to
you
work on
recognize it.
No, guys, you need to work on it.
I know I'm struggling with it. My mind just goes to keep the peace. Let's get this project done. And if we don't have to work together again, we don't have to work together again.
My concern with that is there needs to be a win meeting.
I feel like you guys balance each other nicely.
But the thing is, I'm not in the situation when that happens. because then we would have balanced each other out. Because for me, what happens is I do agree. Get the job done, get the project done. I agree with all of that. However, there's other people out there that this is happening to, because people who usually step on other people or do this, maybe they don't realize it, but they go on doing it anyway to other people. So it keeps on happening. It's repetitive behavior. So if you address it, and this person understands that where they stand, that what you did here, A, B, and C, I'm not upset. I'm telling you what is happening is wrong, so that you can do some introspection. And if it happens again in the future and someone else does it, then this person will pick it up and sort of like change it. If they don't change it with you, they'll go change it somewhere else. There will be a seed that is left there.
Yeah.
So nothing rude. It's just do a little bit of introspection. What you did here is wrong. And I'm not appreciative of that. And going forward, we might not even work together anymore because you clearly didn't change it.
And you know what? Sometimes you do it and you're like, that wasn't that bad actually. Like, it's not as scary as you think it is.
That's the good girl syndrome.
I feel worse if I must tell you, listen here, I didn't like A, B, and C. Because I'm telling you, every time I did try doing that, the person jumped back at me like, and I'm like, how much more respectful can I? You see, I edit her messages.
Yeah.
Which I'm telling you, I can say it very respectfully.
Yes.
Sometimes too respectful.
But then, the way the person jumps and is offended, me, I did that kind of a thing. I've had
Yeah.
it so many
People are in denial
times
sometimes.
that I'd rather just move on with life.
Look, here's the situation.
and let's pretend it didn't happen.
You're not helping nobody eventually. You're not even helping yourself. What happens is, and I've been in the live situation, and I would be livid for her sake.
Yeah.
Because this person would literally be offensive. Very offensive. And I'd say, but then step back, because there's a reason why this person is not able to work with other people. And at some point they need to come and realize that they need to do introspection, that if everyone is leaving me, clearly there's something wrong with me. I need to do introspection. So that's why for me it's always important. Don't tell the person off, but tell the person nicely so that they understand. And even if they don't take it well here, someone else in the future is going to tell them again. And then they're going to be, oh, this is what she meant. So that person must come to a point of realization, because the reality of the matter, it's abusive behavior. It is.
I hope you guys are taking notes from Anka, yeah?
It is abusive. So what happens is she'll keep on working with the person under that,
Oh,
guys.
no, yeah.
Instead of that person's changing,
Project
now we're
needs
happy.
to be successful.
If the project is done and you doing this person a favor, it's different. When you have signed up and you working, it's your project, whatever, you're just trying to get it going. That's something different. But when you're doing this person a favor,
Yeah.
I'm saying stop the abusive behavior.
Oh, the thing that also I struggle with is that in the moment I'll be like, yeah, haha. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
that was
I'm-
not okay.
I'm also
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And then what do you go
Yeah.
back and say,
I
by
ran
the
with
way,
my husband.
yeah.
When it happens again, then I have the courage to say something.
So
Then
we
I
need
can
to
say
stop
something.
laughing off
something-
disrespect and just
When it's someone close to me, like if I say something in a room that's offish, like I did with you once, afterwards I'll go and I say, sorry that I said that in front of people. But it's because I'm comfortable with Anka. Anybody else, I would just be like, oh, shit.
yeah.
What did I just say? But then I won't know how to go, but I will then message because I don't know how to do it
Face to
face to face, but I will still do it via a message.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. As long as the
you took me
communication.
on.
And
Yeah.
also just to say the fact that you recognize you're doing it is already a step. Like
But-
just to say you're not working on it, it's okay, but at least you know that it's
I found though
there.
that a lot of the people that speak about this, guys, they say it's something that you can't really work on alone. They say that everybody suggests going to speak to a therapist to see where it actually stems from. Where did the
Where's the root cause?
What's the
Yeah.
root cause? What happened? Was it the way you were brought up? Was it something that happened at home? Was it something that happened at work? But they say it's important to find out where did it stem from, and then what's making you still
yeah.
Doing that.
And then you
do
need to
that,
be in those
and then how to get the
situations.
confidence back. Because the one girl that I was, the TED Talk lady, she was busy saying that we need to stop saying, oh, you like to girls when something happens. Oh, you're such a good girl. Oh, that you're so clever. Oh, when this happens. They must say, like, for example, if there is a race and the child falls, get up. Oh my word, you're so strong. You got up and did it again. So that women stop feeling like if they stand up to try again, it's be scared that you're gonna fail again.
Yeah, you have to encourage. So you're still encouraging, you're still being nice, you're still being nice is not a nice word, but anyway, but you're saying it differently, which is why it's so important. Like one viewer said, I think it's Tasneem said, it's how you say it. I'm really big on that. Like,
Yeah.
even if you use positive words, what kind of positive words are
yeah.
you using? It's so important to spur that person on, because even when Ava them used to fall, we just when kids fall, you're like, and then they start crying. You're like, no, come, get up, you're okay. You know, like that type of to spur the child on, as opposed to, are you okay, my baby?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Because then
my
later
baby.
in life they're looking for that extra
They do look
bit
for that
when
extra,
something goes wrong, and if nobody gives them that, then they're like, okay, what's wrong with me?
Which comes back to when we spoke about it earlier, that innately we as women, we seek the attention, we seek, because it is given to us mostly,
Yes.
at a very young age. And it's such a broad spectrum, because anything in life really, and this is why we said we've said so much things in previous shows, but the early childhood development shapes who this person becomes in their adulthood. So anything trauma, anything that happens there, it's such a sensitive time that you have to go back there to go fix what's happening now in the future. Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? Why are you feeling under the weather? Why are you feeling in the good girl syndrome? Why do you feel that you must always please people? Was it because your father impressed it on you, your mother impressed it?
Like Anka's favorite line, know your why.
My shame. Evangelic's not so favorite.
Not so favorite. But it's the same like the one guy that was saying, they said there's two ways. It's either you seeking attention based on that's how your parents raised you, constantly giving you the attention, or you seek attention because you
didn't
never
get it.
ever got it.
Yeah. So it's go back, look at what it is, and try to fix it. Because the reality of the matter, no two people are the same. So as much as this could remedy somebody, it can't be a remedy for somebody else, because our personalities are just vastly different. I mean, me and Evangelica are like worlds apart, but we can complement each other because it's a way of speaking or whatever. But what works for me doesn't work for her. What works for her doesn't work for me. So it's so important to go back. And if you need to go see a therapist, go see a good reputable one.
Yeah.
Go with good foundations, please, guys.
And if you're not feeling it, move along to the next.
Move along to the next one.
Yeah, don't pay for 10 upfront, 10 sessions.
Yeah, don't do that.
But yeah, so what would you advise in terms of how to break the good girl syndrome? Anything form of, not just don't say yes to everything, but what do you think could actually help somebody break this good girl syndrome?
I think the most important thing to remember is that it's not an overnight thing. It's a process of unlearning and like rewiring your behavior that you already have. And like you guys said, boundaries. You have to learn how to place boundaries, and self-reflection, I feel, also is very important. Because like you were saying, like when you approach people and they're like in disbelief that that's how they were behaving, like you don't want to be that person.
And also, I think it's important to have someone that you do speak to, someone that is neutral about a situation, someone that's not really biased, who's just going to say yes, yes, yes with you, or no, no, no with you.
Someone to be honest.
Someone that's going to be honest, and that creates sort of like an outlet. I mean, my mother's that type of person. So I always argue with her. It's like, are you my mother or you Xavier's mother, you know? Because what she'll do is there will be a perspective of look at it from the outside. If you're in a situation and you were outside of the situation, how would you have handled it in that? Like, so get someone who is neutral, but that you could speak to about it and say, look, this is how I feel. What do you think? Get someone who can edit your messages for you.
Yeah.
You know, someone that is trustworthy, someone that you know that won't put you in a bind, but that will also look at your, you know, that will tell you, no, you're just being petty right now. You know, A, B, and C, look at this. No, you need to think of yourself right now because A, B, and C. Try to find someone. It's not always possible, but try to find someone that can be that neutral person in your life.
Yeah. I would also say the confidence. Once you're confident in who you are, it will also help the situation
rewarding.
a lot, because then you're not going to seek that affirmation in every single thing you do. Because if you're confident in who you are, I mean, I've done things wrong before, but because I know it's my field, I do it wrong with confidence, because I know this is all I have right now. I could have done it better if I had, but with the little that I have, I'm confident because it's actually doing the job, not as great as it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But that's just what I mean in terms of being confident in yourself, know your everything,
Yeah.
and then just jump into it. I always say, what's that Robin, the Wake Up 5 lady, the high five lady, she also always says your experience is your expertise. So whatever you do, if you have experience, whether it is just looking after your kids, it's your expertise to give someone advice on it.
Yeah.
After that, don't say do it, but it's a form of advice. Just grow confident in everything that you know, and then slowly but surely, I feel like it
I
could
think
help.
also, I hate to use the cliche self-love, but I feel like that ties in with the confidence, because if you have that healthy relationship with yourself, you will know when you're doing something, or the reason why you're doing something. You won't really do things that you don't want to do. And I'm not saying like say no to everyone, but if you do say yes, let it come from a good place. Let it come from something
be a
that you want.
genuine yes.
Yes.
Let there be balance. It's not a selfish. It's all about me and what about me? Let there be balance.
Yeah, because
Yes.
sometimes you're just saying yes because you want everybody at the end of the day to say, oh, did you see Cleo came through?
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Anka came through? There's some people that yes, everything,
Yes.
more for the whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you to praise their name.
Applaud, living for their
But yeah, and I will take that as our closing remarks.
I have a quote that I want to
Okay,
read
yes, go ahead.
that I saw earlier this week, and I really liked it. It said, I've shifted away from the always put yourself first and moved into always remember yourself, or remember yourself always. There will be moments when situations ask you to consider more than just yourself, but you can always remember to take care of you.
That's nicely
Nice.
put. Well balanced.
Very nice. Guys, aren't you obsessed with Cleo's hair? I thought it was
I
an
am.
Alice band when
Yeah,
she came in.
that I had, man, it's so nice. It's so pretty.
And
Thanks, guys.
you have the cuppy as well, that the one that Nicki Minaj and Kylie wore.
The hat?
The hat
No.
from back in the day, man. Didn't you do some photo shoot with a cuppy? Not the cap. It was a cuppy with the net.
Well, yes, I had. I don't know if I still have it. Like back in the day, I used to love all those
But
things.
that's also nice. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
This is my weekly
today.
excuse to dress up. Also.
Even if it's in May.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us for
you.
yet another week of the Gabfest. There was supposed to be the other show today, but
yes.
unfortunately that is moved to next week due to us. But
You should have just left it there. You should have left it hanging.
thank you so much for watching. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Don't